My first guest starred in Rich Man, Poor Man. He's won Emmys for his performance in The Jericho Mao and Masada, and he can be seen next week in The Fugitive Among Us. Please welcome Peter Strauss. Folks, Peter Strauss.
Thank you. How are you?
Okay. You're the gentleman farmer now, right?
The gentleman farmer.
Yeah, you live up in Ojai now, right?
We live...
or you have a farm up there, right?
We have we produce 400 tons of citrus annually. Last year we produced 400 tons of frozen fruit. We had a 17-degree low, and in 2 nights we lost a year's work. Jeez. It was amazing because when it gets cold, years ago, one just used smudge pots, those little heaters in the orchard.
I have one under my desk right now. A little cold during that last piece.
And then they started using wind machines, but the trend is the kiwi fruit of the year in terms of warmth for orchards is to rent a helicopter.
Oh, yeah?
And they literally, they bring you warm air. And you sit there with a phone calling them in, negotiating the amount of time they'll sit above your orchard,
right,
forcing warm air down. And you compare it against the temperature and how much fruit you have on the trees. At a certain point, you come out to zero and you go to bed. You've lost your crop. And that's what happened.
Maybe I'm overthinking this, but just have Liz Taylor get married in your orchard and you get the copters for free. It's just a thought. I'm just throwing it out there. It's funny, I see you come... I know it has been years since this thing. You probably get sick of talking about it your whole life, but I always think of you as Rudy. It's so weird. And I've seen Nolte in Immeasurable Things, and I always think of him as Tommy Jordache. That has really stuck with you guys all these years. Is that a pleasure for you, or is that a nightmare for you?
Well, it used to be a nightmare. And then one day I realized that... I mean, that show now is 17 years old.
Really?
Which is astonishing. And for a while, I sort of wanted to be like a flasher and open up my coat with credits in it and say, this is the other work I've done, what about that? And then I suddenly realized that most people don't remember what was on television 17 minutes ago.
Right.
So to have the memory of 17 years is something really to look at with pride as opposed to apprehension.
Right.
But I was going to come dressed tonight like I just throw on jeans and a T-shirt. And the last time I did that on a show, I got letters from people saying, "What are you looking like a bum for? Where's the Rudy Jordache look?"
Yeah, they want...
That was it.
Now, when
I gave up.
You were a kid then, too, and they aged you. I remember Rudy looked pretty, actually, senatorial there towards the end. He actually... How old were you when you did that?
I was about 60.
No.
And there are people who think by now I'm 82 and I've had amazing plastic surgery.
Yeah.
I finished another film this year about a lawyer, and I had to meet with the head of the network because he was convinced I was too old for the role of a 40-year-old. Because his notion was that after Rich Man, Poor Man, 17 years, 60 years of age, he must be 77 by now. So what I do is assume people come up to me and think I look remarkably fit for that age. And that I haven't done that much surgery to look this good, but it's fine.
Yeah, you look great. Well, actually, I'm a 58-year-old Filipino woman, and this is just what we're wearing this season. We're going to take a commercial. We'll be right back with Peter Strauss, folks. We're back with Peter Strauss. Now, Peter, the new film is Fugitive Among Us, and it's another rape drama on TV, isn't it? Or actually a different light on it, though, right?
I hope it's better than that.
No, but I mean, it's a different take, isn't it, about your pursuit, your obsession with the rapist?
It's a film that's a study of obsession. Mm-hmm. And I tried to get values in it that are also about forgiveness. But it's based on a true story of a police detective, Texas police detective, who pursued a suspect for a rape for 3 years and discovered that he had basically pursued the wrong man, and what it meant to him, how it affected his life. And he starts off with enormous marital difficulty and enormous problems about loneliness in himself. So it became an interesting character. I think we brought up.
We have a little look here. This is
Yeah, it's a
from
little
Fugitive
hard. This is
Among
the
Us.
first interrogation, and it was a hard scene to cut into, but basically the smell of the film, I think, is there. This is the man I suspect. He's noticed that my hand is bandaged from putting my fist through a glass window on a marital dispute, and he is my devil. He's found a way to get under my skin.
It's like Lecter
Yeah,
to some
it is.
extent. All right.
His hand's so kill. And pretty soon she get that soft, lazy look in her eyes. You know the one? When she's just about ready to let it go. But I wouldn't take her then. I'd wait for that sweet, low groan that starts from somewhere down deep in her belly. And when she was just aching for it, I'd
Nobody,
What they call a clip of a clip.
yeah, I don't think anybody can get weirder quicker than Eric Roberts can. Man, he is out there. You know, that's the new trend now in movies. They always have the guy who's sort of like the prophet who gets into the other guy's head. He uses his amazing powers. We had Hannibal Lecter, and then in Backdraft they had Donald Sutherland. He played like flammable Lecter in there. He got into the other guy's head. Now we have this guy getting into your head.
Well, you know, it's still, though, it's a picture that ultimately deals with women as victims. And the whole of next year's scripts are the same thing. You're going to have 2 years in a row of women as victims. Next year is the year of, there are about 10 films dealing with harassment. There are about 20 that still deal with rape. There are about 10 that deal with the workplace. But, I mean, it's like television gets an idea and then it literally works it to death. And then hopefully next year we'll get back to romance.
Well, that trial
humanity.
lit that fuse, though. I think women, are, if anything, are more indignant now when they sat there and obviously nobody knows what went on with Clarence Thomas and Anita Hill, but something went down there. And, you know, when women sit at home and just see 12 men up there questioning this woman, I think they get really indignant. They're just feeding that monster now, Hollywood, I would assume.
Well, now it's the Clinton monster.
Yeah.
And now the thing.
Boy, they're on him, man.
But the thing that's so disturbing is, in a sense, what I thought about yesterday is that we're at a point where a newspaper like the Star or the National Enquirer can literally take all the decent human beings. I mean, people who have perhaps there was a genuine problem in their marriage. Perhaps they solved it, they seem to.
Right.
They're loving, they have dignity in their marriage, and they want to serve this country. And this newspaper is having an effect to the point where anybody who wants to run for politics in this country is doomed. I mean, even if he picked his nose in the 5th grade, he's ultimately doomed. Because it becomes an issue, and we're going to have fewer and fewer decent, intelligent, caring human beings wanting to serve this country.
Yeah.
And we're going to have people, you know, I'd rather have Clinton, this isn't an endorsement in a sense, I'd rather have a man who worked through a dilemma in his marriage and has made his marriage work,
Right.
sitting opposite Yeltsin, than someone who has no passion in his life and has never solved a critical problem. It's like what is it Carter said when he read Playboy? I have lust in my heart.
Yeah.
I'd rather have Clinton sitting there solving a problem for me.
Right.
But what scares me is that kind of a newspaper.
Well, you know, I think that smattering of applause is indicative that I think there's a growing backlash against this sort of stuff in this country. Maybe I'm naive, but I think people are starting to think, oh, for God's sakes, let it go. Let's look at the guy's record. If it's okay for his wife, isn't it okay for us?
He hasn't had a chance to talk about crime, education, poverty, any of the serious things affecting this country. Marital discord is in almost every marriage, and ultimately, if one solves it, it makes a richer marriage and a better human being, no?
I think John Lennon had the right idea. Do your press conferences from bed, man. That's the only place they'll listen to you anymore. Thanks for coming on, Peter. We'll watch
enjoyed
the
it. Thank
film.
you.
Appreciate it. Good to meet you. We'll be right back after this.